hello to you, Ohio, the greatest football fans in the world. This is the Grange Insurance High School Sports Site. I'm Dan Franzak, joined alongside the usual cast of characters, JJ of JJ Heddle, they are characters, and former Buckeye captain Jerry Rosinski. I'll give you the proof later. And we start with tonight's marquee matchup, a Division IV state semifinal pairing the undefeated Steubenville Big Red against the 12-1 New Lexington Panthers. The Big Red just one win away from their third trip to the state championship game in 4 years. New Lexington playing in their first ever Final Four in school history. This one being played at Massillon Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, one of the host sites for next week's state finals. Big Red on the board after the one-yard touchdown run there by Bronk Buzik. More Steubenville on the block punt by Isaiah Willis. It goes out of the end zone for a safety, 9-0 Steubenville. More Big Red in the first half, Dwight Macon. To Michael Goodwin, 29 yards on the beautiful touchdown pass, 16-0. Not all went well for Steubenville. This fumble on the punt, not good. John Sherwin recovers for New Lex. The Panthers make good on the turnover. It's Clint Cannon on the 3-yard touchdown run, 16-6 ball game. Back to the Big Red and back to Macon, who keeps this one himself. 12 yards on the scrambling score. Fakes the throw. Steubenville 23-6 at the break. Big Red just huge on defense Friday. On 4th and goal from the 7, New Lex goes for it. Steubenville forces the incomplete pass. Just for good measure, we bring you Steubenville's Demetrius Brandon toting the rock for an 8-yard touchdown. Steubenville moving on to the state finals again. 30-6 is the final. All right, time to bring in the guys. JJ, nice run for the Panthers, their best year in school history, but they ran into a postseason machine in Steubenville tonight.
And I had more or less said that they had only allowed 14 points, and it was the most they allowed all year long in the game. I said if they could hold Big Red to 14 points, they could possibly win this football game. Well, Big Red had 16 points before the end of the first quarter, so I knew what was happening there. It's just that Big Red's just such a solid team that doesn't beat themselves, and it's really tough to prepare for a team that can run, they can pass, and the quarterback scrambling around. They're a real potent offense, and it's hard to prepare.
Yeah, Jerry, let's talk about that quarterback, Dwight Macon, because here's a big-time recruit that you have in Dwight Macon. And I guess how much does an athlete, a pure athlete like that, make a difference when it counts at the high school level?
Well, just go back to 2 years ago when they had Zach Caleras. He's the reason why they won that state championship in my mind. With Dwight Macon, you have that same type of player. He's going to go out there. He's probably the best athlete on the field. You saw the tight spiral he was throwing in those highlights. You saw his fast footwork out there. The guy can absolutely do it all. He is a 2009 Mr. Football front runner. This guy is as good as they come in high school quarterback. And it's good. You stop a guy like that with your defensive line. Don't count on your defensive backs covering the receivers. He'll still slice it in there. It's the defensive line that's got to get pressure on him.
Jerry, JJ, Steubenville back in the big dance for the third time in 4 years. Do we start talking dynasty here, guys?
Oh, I think you have to. I mean, I put them right up there with Coldwater and Mooney. It seems like every year one of them is always up there winning the state title. But I would have to say yes, they're a clear established dynasty.
And then they won 700. They got their 700th win this season. So 700 wins is a dynasty.
Yeah, that's a lot.
They are a dynasty. All right, Dave Bacon in Massillon, not too far from Canton, where the Big Red, as we call them, a dynasty, play in next Friday's D4 state championship game. Dave?
Behind the strong right arm and quick feet of junior quarterback Dwight Macon, Steubenville took control of the game early in the first quarter and never let go.
That's what we want to do every game, get up ahead, and our defense do the job that they're supposed to do. They always help us out. The offense comes in, we do what we're supposed to do, we win the game.
Big Red's defense showed their colors early in the third quarter. New Lexington had the ball 1st and goal from the 7 and didn't score.
Yeah, we definitely had to suck it up because it was a big stand for the momentum.
I thought the whole game was a turning point. I can't pick out one spot. The block punt, the nice drives. We had some big plays, but the little things that I remember. We can't turn the ball over. We got to protect the football.
The win puts Steubenville in the Division IV state championship game. It's the 3rd time in the last 4 years that Big Red will play in a state title game.
I'm proud of our team. I mean, if you'd have told me this was going to happen in August, I'd have had you committed. But these kids just improved every day. They're just a great bunch of kids right now. Hopefully they remember tonight the rest of their lives, but they can put it on hold for a week.
Oh, it's a great thing. I've never been there last year. I didn't get to do there. I didn't get to get there, so I'm pumped right now.
It was definitely a goal, and now we're there. We're going to take it to the next level and win the state.
In Massillon at the Division IV state semifinal, David Bacon reporting for the Grange Insurance Sports Site.
Thank you very much, David. Because it's such a huge night in high school football, we bring you a bonus marquee matchup. This one, a Division II semifinal pairing the Sylvania Southview Cougars and the Hoban Knights. It's a double feature Friday, Southview Hoban at Fremont Ross Don Paul Stadium. Second quarter there, Alex Pidcock throws to Joey Seifer. It goes over Joey's fingers, over two defenders, lands back in the hands of Sean Joplin, who runs it in for the first touchdown of the night. Wasn't long before the Cougars showed their teeth again. This time it's Michael Heel at the helm, running the ball into the end zone, 14-0 Southview. The Cougars were unstoppable Friday, dominating the Hoban Knights with incredible offensive balance. Jimmy Hall on the receiving end of this bomb from Pidcock. Cougars also had great special teams on their returns, and their defense was relentless, getting to the quarterback several times. It all adds up to a 31-0 Southview shutout over Hoban. Cougars back in the big dance for the first time since 1999, but what a great year for Hoban.
The final score isn't indicative of how our kids played. It was a tremendous run by this group, especially the seniors, and I'm really proud of what they did. I mean, we'd love to have gone next week, but, you know, it just wasn't in the cards for us.
I can't even explain to you how proud I am about all the guys I served with, and we made it this far. I mean, we worked our tails off in the offseason, and we made it this far. I'm proud of each and every one of them, and I wouldn't take anything back.
All right, guys, well, I thought Hoban would at least make a game of this, but I guess, you know, JJ, the Cougars, they're for real.
Well, I'll tell you, they really are. And I love Pidcock, their quarterback. He completed over 75% of his passes during the regular season. No interceptions, 20 touchdowns, and he runs for, I think, about 700 yards. He really presses and spreads the field a lot. That you've got to really watch for him running the ball or passing, and he does both very, very well.
Jerry, a dominating performance tonight, obviously. You can't overstate, though, just how balanced this Cougars team was in all facets of the game.
I noticed you used that word in the highlights, and that's so appropriate. That offense, they can beat you in so many different ways. In weeks 2 and 3, they scored 33 and 28 points, but all their other regular season games, they scored in the 40s, 50s, 60s, or even the 70s. Jeez. In Sylvania Southview, you might not see the big-time Division I, you know, 4 or 5-star recruits, but you see a great football team. They're playing as good of team football as anybody out there. They understand their assignment, and they know they trust their teammates. You can kind of tell when a team really trusts their teammates. Hey, I'll take care of my A-gap. Everyone else is going to do their job. They just have that kind of thing going on, and that's why they're getting to the state championship.
Yeah, Jerry, speaking of state championships, Coach Mazes was in that 1999 final for Southview. They lost that game by 1 point. Can he draw upon that experience, or has the game changed too much to make a difference in that regard?
Well, I think you can, because these guys were growing up. They were going to the games. They were the little pee-wee football players, and they remember that stuff. And I think you pull from that. When I was in high school, I thought back to the great, high school teams that I had witnessed growing up. So I think you pull from it.
Well, you pull from it, but I tell you what, it's just a different game totally now. The way teams are coming out and spreading the offense now. There's no more 3 yards in a cloud of dust, I guarantee. But really, I think the offenses and the defensive schemes have just changed a whole lot over 10 years.
Yeah, it seems like it kind of trickled down, goes to the pros, to college. You see a lot of that spread. Rich Rod does that. Speaking, it's Michigan week. He brought that a lot, but a lot of the high school coaches are doing it now too, Jerry.
Well, and with the intangibles is what you pull from. You know, you're going to throw out the X's and O's. It is a different game, but you're talking about guys that worked hard in the summer, made big-time commitment, very disciplined. They got there, and they'll talk about how bad that hurt in '99 to lose that game.
Southview moving on. We'll tell you who they'll face coming up next. Well, we brought you a game from Division II and IV. Coming up next, the D6 semifinal clashes. Plus, who would win the rematch between DeSales and Anderson? A trip to the state championship is on the line. You're in line from highlights from all of Friday's Final Four games right here on the Grange Insurance High School Sports Site.